So we can't really comply with the SRC circular asking us to increase, salaries of workers. We'll also struggle to meet our end of the bargain to the doctors. Because for the doctors, the agreement was that national government covers the arrears, right, of the CBA, the impact of the CBA, which was not complied with. And then it was assumed that the new division of revenue will give counties additional money to meet the CBA requirements going forward. So it's going to be nearly impossible to comply with that as well, frankly. If we would have gotten an increase of 13.5 from last year, we would have been neutral with respect to payroll costs. But now, we're actually taking a hit of 11.5 billion as a result of an increase in payroll costs, which increase in payroll cost has not been offset by the increase in equitable share. But this 13.5 just isolated the non-discretionary expenditure that counties have to meet this fiscal year between 1st of July 2024 and 30th of June 2025 as a result of laws that have been passed at national level and agreements, intergovernmental agreements that have been agreed between county governments and the national government. And this will have an effect on counties. It will have an effect on development expenditure. It will have an effect on recruitments for essential staff. It will have an effect on the amount counties have to spend on operations. It will have an effect on the ability to meet ratios such as is required of them legally, such as the requirement to at least spend 30% on development. A lot of the counties are already struggling, so that also will not be possible for most of the counties. The housing levy law that came into effect had actually increased the payroll of county governments by 4 billion shillings. And this is an actual figure, 4.05 billion shillings. Two, there was an agreement on county health promoters, they're called CHPs, which was a matching expenditure for about 100,000 CHPs across the country. These had an impact on county payrolls of 3.23 billion shillings. Then there was the band movements, what we call the annual wage increases in IPPD, which are largely automatic, even before SRC pronounces itself on any salary increments. And this for all the counties was in the region of 6.295 billion. Adding those figures, only those three items that I mentioned, even before you go to the county industrial and aggregation industrial parks and other arrangements that we had, just those three, housing levy, CHPs, and the annual band increases in our payroll, we're talking of 13.5 billion shillings for the 47 counties. If the division of revenue is dependent on the passing of the finance bill at national level, should we then have a requirement to first pass the finance bill at national level before we go through a very protracted process of negotiating division of revenue? We've been reading this and seeing in the media that the finance minister wants to go back to the Houses of Parliament to raise another 178 billion shillings. Question then is, if the reduction to the counties was done on account of the inability to raise the anticipated taxes because of the failure to pass the finance bill at national level, if that is now amended, and if the minister is able to raise more taxes, will there be then an opportunity to amend DORA to increase the allocation to counties? So this is something that going forward has to be clarified in law. Can DORA really be amended? Two, can it only be amended downwards, or can it also be amended upwards? The amendment of DORA after it has been assented to. Of course, we know how we got here, which is the issue of the finance bill that didn't go through. But it had never occurred before since the promulgation of this new constitutional dispensation, and since the counties were established in 2013, we have never really had to go back on DORA. And it's something that was never anticipated in law, in my view. And we feel that this is a loophole that can be abused going forward. But on behalf of the Council of Governors, we want to register our disappointment with that figure of 387. Frankly, we knew that there was 4 possibilities, and we had, discussed this in our last meeting, extraordinary meeting. What if they agree at the figure of the National Assembly, or they agree? Our best of all worlds would have been to agree to a mediated position of 400